Hello and welcome to the Be Heard, Be Brave, Be Free channel, where the focus is on self-development and creating a community tribe where we can support and encourage each other throughout this life experience so we can feel a little bit less alone. So if this is the first time you're joining this channel, my name is Tanya. I'm 52 years old and I live on the east coast of Scotland. I have recently pivoted my career from being a qualified accountant in the financial services and launching my online coaching and therapy business. So throughout this channel, I'm trying to figure out, I'm experimenting with the frequency and content that I'm including. On a Monday, I do self-reflection. On a Wednesday, it's education, tools, techniques, hints and tips. And on a Friday, it is about storytelling, relaying some of my life experiences that can potentially provide a little bit of light relief and entertainment, but also demonstrating some learnings, some lessons and learnings that I've experienced through the self-reflection and a lot of kind of inner work that I've done over, in particular, the past 18 months, but previously in my life through the immersive courses that I've sort of participated in over the years. So today is Friday and it's all about storytelling, and the kind of topic that I thought it would be useful to sort of like link everything back to is around shifting identity from being an obedient and scared to express myself child to being my own, finding my purpose in life and becoming my biggest cheerleader, because that is ultimately what we want to find: self-acceptance, self-love and compassion for ourselves, that we are able to praise and support and encourage ourselves through all the ups and downs that life is going to present to us in order for us to learn, grow and expand. So if this is something that you're interested, stick around. I'm going to share a little bit of my kind of life story and background, and if not, feel free to dive into some of the kind of Monday content or Wednesday content if that sort of suits your needs. And if not, that's fine. I'm sure there's going to be a creator out there for you. Have a great day if that's the case. So coming back to my life story, what I sort of like as part of my kind of people pleasing, wanting to receive the love, attention from my caregivers and my kind of community and family unit, as well as the kind of educational system, I ended up being a high achieving child that thoroughly was fascinated by learning and totally curious about everything in life. My favourite question growing up was why. Everything was a why? And my least favourite response was because I said so. I much preferred someone being able to either give me an answer or tell me that they didn't know, rather than just sort of like giving me a fact and just sort of like closing the kind of conversation. So at the age of 10 to 11, I was actually rewarded with 24 volumes of the Britannica encyclopedia, because back when I was sort of growing on, I'm 52 now, so back in the kind of late in the kind of 80s, there wasn't Google. You had to go to the library to do any kind of further research and investigation. So having the encyclopedias in the house, I could, every time I had a question that my kind of parents weren't able to answer and respond back for, they actually prompted me, now go and do the research, go and find the answer in the encyclopedias. And I was absolutely fascinated with geography, culture, religions, and wanting to know and experience more than what I was seeing and experiencing within Greece, where I was actually living. But because obviously my multicultural background, with my grandfather from my mum's side being Polish and my grandmother being Scottish, there was fascination. I wanted to know more. And that is where I got the kind of real desire for travel as a result, because one of my kind of big goals and dreams was to actually visit all the capital cities in Europe. Why did I pick capitals? I have no idea. But that was a big kind of sort of fascination. And at the age, in my 30s, I ended up doing a couple of road trips throughout Europe, and I got the opportunity to actually go and visit a lot of the capital cities. And I'll relay some of those kind of travel experiences in future storytelling diary vlogs in due course. But for the purpose of this, I just wanted to sort of like reiterate that I loved school. I was curious. I loved learning and getting to put in practice what I was actually learning. So experimenting was a big kind of thing for me. So a lot of my kind of lessons, I loved chemistry when I was in high school, and I wanted to do my own experiments in the house, which was probably not the kind of safest environment to do so, but I was curious and I wanted to sort of like figure things out for myself. And then one of the other things that was sort of like prompted is, as part of my coaching and therapy training, one of the things that Marissa Peer would ask is, what did you enjoy doing between the ages of 7 and 14? And for me, it was learning, it was traveling, it was experiencing, it was about following your dreams and your desires and having a vivid imagination and feeling that nothing was impossible if you put your mind to it. And one thing that I was absolutely fascinated by, because I did the majority of my schooling in Greece between the ages of 5 and just before I turned 17. And one of the things that we did as part of modern Greek was we read books and passages, and as part of that we also did some kind of research, or we were provided information from the biographies of the authors. And the thing that fascinated me was that a number of the authors had pivoted their career at some point, whether it was they went to university and they got a degree, and then after a few years they decided that that wasn't their passion, and then they went into writing or researching, that then ended up resulting in them writing a book. And that absolutely fascinated me, because at that point I had a very kind of black and white mindset in terms of, if you made a decision, you stuck to that decision no matter what. And the thought of actually going and studying for, whether it was 2 years, 3 years or 4 years to university or college, and after investing all that time, to then all of a sudden decide that that isn't what you wanted to do, and then change your mind and pivot your career into something different. And for me personally, that is something that I've only come to realize myself in my 50s, where looking back on my career, being a qualified accountant, and I thoroughly enjoyed that profession for a long period of time, but predominantly because of the interaction that I had with people, because my kind of roles that I sort of gravitated towards were more kind of project related, or partnering with business units that weren't necessarily finance minded, and you were providing that kind of finance support. So it was the human interaction that I was really sort of like enamored with. And one of the subjects that I actually did in Greece at the age, I think, of 13, 14, was starting to look at not just biology and anthropology, but sociology and human psychology as well. So we delved into those aspects, as well as astronomy and geology, as well, on top of geography. So there was a lot of breadth of subjects that we got to sort of try out, which I've got to admit, that is one of the kind of real positives of my education system in Greece, is that I got exposed to a lot of subjects that most people don't get exposed to until they actually go to university, or they do any kind of research and reading as a hobby outside school. So I got exposed to a lot of stuff, but then you start getting the kind of realistic, pragmatic in the expectations that are being set upon you is go to university to do a subject that is actually going to provide you with a sustainable and long-lasting career. And at that point, for me, I enjoyed maths, and accountancy was something brand new, and I thought, do you know, why not give that a go, and I'm going to make some money along the way, so it can't be it's always a win-win in that kind of perspective. So that's the reason why I went into accountancy, rather than it being an innate desire because I wanted to go down that profession. It was almost like a process of elimination. But my innate kind of interest and curiosity was around traveling, cultures, religion, and human interactions. So it's only natural that in my 50s, starting to look back, why I wasn't really fulfilled with work because of the high pressures, working for other people. And even though I was sort of contracting, there was a lot of expectations set upon me. And I wanted to actually be my own boss. I wanted to have the time freedom to choose when and how often I worked with people. And because of the kind of savvy financial decisions that I made along the way, I was in that kind of financial position to be able to pivot my career and take some time off, get trained, and embrace this kind of new online coaching and therapy kind of practices, and be able to transform people's life, which is probably the most kind of life affirming. Like, seeing your own life change is absolutely amazing, and you become your own biggest kind of cheerleader as a result of it, because you can see that the kind of 2mm changes that you're putting in place are having such a profound impact in every area and aspect of your life. And as a result, you're feeling happier and more content and fulfilled in your life, and you want to share that. And that is what my kind of online practice is all about. It's about me using the tools, techniques, and training that I've received to be able to share that with paying clients in order to transform their lives. But coming back to the kind of life purpose, if you're struggling at this moment of knowing what is giving you joy and fulfillment in your work, whether it is a career or whether it's just a job, maybe ask yourself that question. What did you enjoy back at the ages of 7 and 14? And if it was playing football and you can't become a professional football later on in life, or that was never a kind of a way forward for you, then maybe it's exploring. Is maybe coaching something that you could get into? Is it that you could actually volunteer and support local teams or charities and get involved from that kind of aspect? So maybe you're not necessarily being the kind of, oh, I want to be the professional footballer, that was the aspiration, and you can't achieve that. But there's other aspects that you can maybe explore further. So it's good to sort of like go back and see, what did you enjoy, and what kind of things could you potentially do now that would give you that joy and fulfillment if you are not fulfilled and enjoying what you're currently doing. Because the reality is there's probably 10% of people that are working for someone else that feel truly fulfilled and enjoying what they're actually doing. The majority are just there for the paycheck and to be able to get the money to then be able to go and do everything else that they enjoy in life out with work. And if that is you, that's fine. Everyone's on our own kind of journey of self-discovery and experiencing life throughout its opportunities and the challenges that life sort of like throws upon us. But I just thought I'd leave that kind of life purpose and what it sort of meant. But for me, it was all about not regretting decisions, and that is why that fascination with the authors pivoting their career and me sort of thinking earlier on, black and white, oh, why would they do that? It just doesn't seem make logical sense. As you go through life, you start realizing that some of your thoughts and your beliefs from earlier on in life are no longer applicable or relevant to your life now, or you can actually start challenging them just like I did. And that's how I've sort of found my kind of fulfillment and purpose in my life, being able to help other people in a kind of tangible way that is not kind of several years down the line to be able to see the kind of fruit outputs of your labour. You can actually see it very, very quickly, because we change on a daily basis. Our life today is different from our life yesterday, whether it was just that 1 millimetre or 2 millimetre progress that we actually made. So we're constantly evolving and changing. So it's about not having regrets and about not sort of like blaming or judging past decisions that we've made, because I know through my life I've made choices and decisions that were the best under the circumstances. With all the information that I had, I did the best that I could do. Have I learned? Absolutely. Have I grown? Have I expanded my kind of vision of what my future is going to look like? Absolutely. And that's what makes it exciting, to be able to sort of embrace what the future sort of like holds ahead. So in terms of the kind of sort of embracing this kind of inner cheerleader, I mentioned, I think earlier on in this week's videos, about the words that we use and the language that we use can have an impact on how we're actually feeling in the state and the mood that we're currently in. And what we want to do is build ourselves up in the most positive way possible, where we're cheering ourselves on, whether it is pat on the back for getting on and doing a new video today, or for you watching this video today. Pat on the back for getting out of bed this morning, whatever that may be for you, whatever step you've taken that is a little bit out of your comfort zone. Maybe you didn't feel that you really wanted to do it, but you pushed through it and you did it. It's about acknowledging all those little victories. It doesn't have to be huge, massive ones. They can just be small ones, but it's about appreciating them, acknowledging them, and feeling grateful for them, because we've all got choices. You could have chosen not to get out of bed today, clock in a sick day, or not fulfill all your responsibilities today, but you chose to sort of like pursue everything that you pursued today. So it's about acknowledging those, and it's about cheering yourself on, because we need to be kind and compassionate to ourselves, just like the logo here says. Be kind always, because we're doing the best that we can do, and this channel hopefully is providing you with some tools, techniques, and some different kind of perspectives and insights that we don't need to have it all figured out. But we need to keep pushing through. We need to keep making progress in order for us to see the movement that we're actually making. And that movement is then encouraging and empowering us to take bigger leaps of faith in some instances. And for me, it was about pivoting my career. I had a very kind of successful business, and I had a really good reputation within the financial services. And I could go and I could do other projects, but that wasn't lighting me up. When I was waking up in the morning, I wasn't jumping out of bed, oh, I can't wait to get up and deliver a project for someone else. Where the joy that I get getting out of bed, knowing that I'm actually making progress in my own life, and by me doing this and demonstrating through this video diaries, I'm hopefully encouraging and inspiring you to do the same in your lives. And I certainly can see that firsthand in the kind of changes that my clients are actually undergoing themselves. So that just fills me up with so much more kind of joy, purpose, and fulfillment. And you keep on wanting to do more, experience more. And the kind of traveling, I've loved driving and experiencing cultures and seeing different ways of seeing things, because that black and white kind of narrow mind thinking can keep you stuck and limited in the life experience. where if you come with a kind of growth mindset and an open mind, you can challenge the thinking, you can challenge the experiences that you're going through, and that can bring more fulfillment and joy into your life as well. So in terms of your life story, what are the thoughts that you had in terms of that might have been keeping you stuck, and the progress that you're making to sort of like let go and open up and embrace a new kind of way? Maybe cheerleader is too strong a word for you, but maybe it's the encouraging, supporting coach or mentor or guide that you need to sort of propel you to take the action. Sometimes the uncomfortable action, because what's familiar usually is something that you do with ease, but after a while it probably stops becoming as fulfilling because you don't have that stretch or growth within the kind of life that you're experiencing. And then you start feeling stagnant. And then that's where the kind of discomfort, displeasure starts coming in, and then you start looking for something else. And this something else might be learning more, reading a book, listening to a podcast, watching this video, going and traveling and experiencing different cultures, whether it is from a religious perspective, getting to expand your kind of mindset and cuisines. Try different foods, experiment in that space, get to try different experiences, different types of holidays, because there's cruises, there's organised tours, there's backpacking that you could go and do at any age, because I've done that multiple times throughout my life, and it's a fun experience, and you get to meet lots of interesting people, and like opportunities and synchronicities happen when you sort of put yourself out there and you want to explore and experience more. But everything for me started with curiosity, asking that question, why? Why am I sort of thinking this way? Why am I feeling this way? What can I do to improve the way that I think and I feel and I experience life? So I think I'm going to bring this to a close. Thank you for those that have stuck around to the end. Hopefully there was some sort of like insight, inspiration, a little bit of entertainment factor in here. Oh, before I go, there was one more thing that I was going to mention. Sorry. Talking about regrets. So about not putting, don't hold off and leave things till tomorrow, things that you could potentially do today. And back when I was 11, my grandparents had visited Greece, and so had my aunt, my uncle, and eventually my aunt. They got married not long after that. They came to Greece, and my aunt and uncle were going to be in Athens. My grandparents were up in the north of Greece with us, and we decided that we were going to do a road trip from the north of Greece down to Athens, and we would meet up with them and spend a few days, and we would get to go to the Acropolis. And that was something on my kind of sort of like aspiration dream bucket, having started doing Greek mythology. I wanted to go and see the Parthenon. And this is where in Greece there is this tendency that there is, let's put off to tomorrow what we could do today, just because today we've decided we've had enough. It's too hot and sunny a day, so we're just going to close the Parthenon because that's what we want to do. And that's what happened. The day that we had a couple of days where we were in Athens, and then we were going to be going out to the beach. And for the couple of days that we were there, something happened. The first day we didn't go to the Acropolis. Then the second day we went, and this is where by the time we sort of turned up to the Acropolis, I think it was probably 2 o'clock. It was a really hot day, and they decided that it was too hot, that they were actually going to close the Acropolis. So they were going to go and have their little siesta and their food, and that's what they were going to do, and the Acropolis was going to be closed. And when we turned up there and we were told it was closed, I was really disappointed because I really wanted to go and see it. And I was like, can we come back tomorrow? And my uncle said back then, Tanya, these stones have stood here for thousands of years. I'm sure they'll be here in a few years' time when you come back to visit again. Now, at the age of 11, that felt a bit like, oh, why am I not getting to have this experience now? And it took me until my mid-30s to actually go back to the Acropolis, because it was on my bucket list. It was something that I wanted to experience and see. But it also shows that if we had adjusted our plans ever so slightly in the next day, we could have went and seen the Acropolis back then. But the reality is, seeing it when I was 11 versus seeing it when I was in my 30s, I probably had a totally different experience, and it was a totally different experience that I went through later on in life. But it also prompted this: why put off to tomorrow what you can do today? So have no regrets. If you can take action today, take the action today. Don't regret it, because you can tweak and adjust and experiment with what your plans are. There doesn't need to be a black and white way of approaching things. Just be a wee bit more open-minded. Go a little bit with the flow of life and enjoy. Have no regrets. Okay, so it was probably a wee random kind of addition at the end there. So thank you for stuck around to 25 minutes. And I'm going to leave it here. Thank you for watching. Go out and seize the day. Have the most amazing day. It's absolutely beautiful, glorious sunshine here in Scotland. And remember, you've always got choices in life, so choose wisely. Until the next one, bye.